I'm glad you could join us. Great, and now we're live on Facebook. So welcome, friends on the Facebook land. Thank you, Julia, for getting us connected. Welcome, everybody, to our March card making class, our virtual class with the Baldwinsville Public Library. I'm so delighted to partner with Julia and with the Baldwinsville Public Library to share my love of paper crafting and rubber stamping and making a mess with paper and ink. So tonight, we actually have a special item in your kit that we haven't had before, which is a sewing needle. And we're going to be using the needle to do a bookbinding project. So we're not going to do that one first, though. We're going to start with another project. So if you want to take out your little green bag of goodies, what you'll want to grab from that will be the large envelope that's kind of a golden color. A golden yellow color like this, okay? And then we'll highlight my hands so you'll be able to see what we're working on. Let's see, we can spotlight. Okay, Julia, thank you. And then let me go ahead, I'll spotlight. Yeah, so now my hands should be there. Okay, everyone. So this is project 1, and you'll find all the pieces inside this golden envelope. It's a larger size envelope. It can still be mailed just with the regular postage. And the card we're going to create is actually doesn't open up. It will just have a front and a back, but there's lots of space for you to write on the back. You could add a photo or coupons or tea or whatever you like to send to friends when you put something in the mail to them. So you want to take out, I'll leave it here as a reference. We're going to change it up with some different stamps, but I have another set ready to show you. One of the things I love about this project tonight is the texture that's on the crumb cake paper. You'll see it's got an embossed texture. And Stampin' Up! Actually has heat embossed tools and powders that you can apply and heat and create that raised shiny look. But in this case, that step is done for you. So you may remember that I love shortcuts and it makes it fun. I can get more projects made if I take advantage of some of the shortcuts. So this paper already has this pretty shiny striped raised pattern, and you can touch it. It's a beautiful embossed paper. The other fun items in here are some more varied mixed media textures. We have a small wooden heart and some gold cord, gold twine. And then we have a series of little cups here. There's a little tag and then a series of teacups. So each of the handles, you'll just need to pop out a little piece in the handle, and you can set those aside. You might use them for confetti in a card if you like, or they could just go in your recycling, but there's just a few little pieces to pop out. And then you'll notice the gold piece, the gold foil piece tonight has a pop out piece that's quite large. So you could save this for something else. And also that little handle. Okay, and I'm gonna shift this way a little bit so I can be more centered on my screen for you. Okay, so before I do any assembly, I'm going to go ahead and stamp the back of my card. So if you have in mind how you want to use this and you know where you're going to send this card, you can go ahead and stamp a greeting or an image in the back. I'm going to use a stamp that says sending all the hugs. Okay, and I'm going to put that kind of centered in the back of the card, because once I put my layers on here with the dimensionals and the glue, it will be an awkward surface. It won't be flat. So because this card is just a flat one-sided, one piece of cardstock, if you want to put a greeting, stamp a greeting, you'll want to do it now. You can probably write okay with a pen or a marker, but the stamping part, you want it to be flat. All right, so back to the front. Another idea too is if you choose not to do a greeting tonight, you could always stamp a greeting on another piece of paper and glue it to the back. So there's no rules about completing these tonight. You can work on it at your own pace. We like to remind everybody that if it's fun for you just to watch and listen and enjoy the fellowship tonight, that's fine. Also, if you want to stamp along with me, if I get ahead of you, don't worry, just kind of set your project aside and know that you'll be able to see this recording both on Facebook and on YouTube. So you'll be able to go back through and see my step-by-step. Okay, so for this card, on my sample card, I used a stamp set that was part of our celebration during January and February. It's called Friendly Hello, and it has some very nice greetings. I especially love that you have my love and support greeting, and of course the hello friend. So that's the one that I used to decorate the teacup with a simple pattern like a China pattern, and then the sentiment. Tonight's card will use the stamp set Artfully Layered, which has a tropical feel. And on the back, I put the sending all the hugs. And on the front, inside the teacup, I'm going to say, hey there. So it's kind of like, hey there, friend, I'm thinking of you. So I want to make sure that when I stamp, I don't want to go right to the very edge of this white piece because I want it to fit inside the foil. So let me get that set up. I've got the stamp that says, hey there. And I'll stamp that so it's kind of centered on the teacup. And then I can glue this onto the outside. Now we'll be using dimensionals tonight, and in your kit is a small sampler of the mini dimensionals, but I'm also going to be using the Tombow multi-purpose glue. And if you have some of this, you'll know it's great unless you have a latex allergy. Please don't use it if you're allergic to latex. But it's a great adhesive that gives you a little wiggle room when you're working, yet it creates a very strong bond. And a little goes a long way. So we just want a tiny thread along the outside of this where we'll layer it onto the white. Now, again, if tonight while you're working, you're not sure how you want to put this card together, you could simply assemble this and then add a stamped greeting or a written message or a punched out piece inside. All right. And then the other piece that I want to stamp on is this teacup. And so one of the stamps in this tropical stamp set, these are called Monstera Leaves. And when Monstera leaves are just baby leaves, they're heart-shaped like this, and they don't have the holes in them yet. The holes happen in there by nature because they need to have a greater surface area to get the limited light in the jungle. How's that? So we're going to add some Monstera leaves to the teacup just for a little bit of pattern. There.
And different people have different stamps in their kits, so.
Exactly. So you can mix and match with things that you have. You could draw a pattern on your teacup if you like. You'll each have your different stamps and a different color of ink. So if they work for the things that we're working tonight, great. Otherwise, feel free to use them to decorate your envelopes, to decorate other items that you have in your home, other craft items from your stash before you return them back to the library. Okay. So now I'm going to start assembling the card, and I'm going to build up from the bottom. Now, as I suggested, we're going to be using the dimensionals tonight, these mini dimensionals. So I'm going to just place 3, 2 at the top and 1 near the bottom of the teacup. Whoops, sometimes just the paper part pulls off. Okay, and I'll peel off that layer, the wax paper liner. And then that's going to go down near the bottom of my card. Now, oops, yep, I was lucky and I had it the right way up for sending all the hugs. If you do put a greeting on the back, you want to make sure that it's the same way, or it's not a concern, right? I chuckle when I have a card. There's been times where we've had cards that open and then the inside is stamped upside down. So no worries, it's handmade with love. Next, we're going to tuck in the one that we stamped that has this gold layer around it, the gold foil. So again, I'm going to take 2 at the top, and I'm not going to even put any adhesive down in the bottom here because it's going to be kind of tucked under the green. So I'll just take my 2 dimensionals at the top, kind of tuck that in like this. Okay, next we have a really fun striped teacup. This is a little bit like Alice in Wonderland with these colorful ones, I think. And this one we're going to do, we're not going to stamp on it, although you can use your stamps and ink any way you like. So you might want to change up the design of this. But the design that I've created is having this foil, this gold floss come out, and it's going to kind of hold this like a little, so it looks like the tea bag is steeping inside the cup. So this is actually longer than I need. I'm going to go ahead and cut this gold piece, and so you can save that for something else. And then we'll go ahead and assemble the tag part. So I'm going to poke out that little hole there. You can use your scissors or the needle that came in your kit. You might not have taken it out of the envelope yet, but if you have that ready, you could use that to poke the little hole. Okay. And then we'll adhere the small wooden heart. Just need a tiny dot of glue.
A pencil worked nice to poke out the hole.
Yes, good thinking, Julia. Yes, a pencil will be a safe way to just kind of pop out that little dot, the perforated spot. And the reason we want it popped out is because we want to secure this gold thread through it so that it looks like it's tied. You don't really have to tie it because we'll use one of our dimensionals. Let me make sure they're on camera here to show you. The dimensional is going to hold the gold cord, and it's also going to then stick the tag to the card when we know where it's going to lie. Okay. So for the striped cup, we'll put 2 dimensionals again at the top. And we're going to lock this. Let's see. We want to make, it depends on how long you want the tea bag little tag to fall. So again, this is longer than I need it, but if I go ahead and secure this with a dimensional somewhere in the middle there, it's going to do double duty. It's going to lock the string, and it's also going to help stick up the cup. All right, so we're going to tuck that one in, and you'll see they're a little bit at different angles. And now we'll just have that so that it's hanging. It appears to be the tea is steeping with the tea bag in here and the little tag hanging out. Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
You know I love hearts, so that's a lot of fun.
Did you die cut the tea cups?
It actually was done for me by Stampin' Up. These were parts of the kit. Yep.
Okay.
You're right. Die cutting would be just what I would do if I didn't have them already done for me. Sometimes with the Stampin' Up kits already have pieces die cut or punched for me. And this was actually part of a kit from a while ago. And it's been fun to resurrect the pieces and kind of redesign using the pieces to make a new project. So lastly, we're going to add this polka dot cup to the top. And I'll again just put 2 dimensionals right at the top, 1, 2. And then tuck that one in as well. So again, this is a fun one that somebody might prop up on their dresser or put it with a magnet on their refrigerator. Sometimes people have clips in their house, like a frame that has a clip, and they just change out positive greetings or sentiments or photos. So it could be used in a variety of ways, but I intend to send it. So I'm sending all the hugs, and that will go fit into my envelope. Now, if this is mailed standard mail, because of the thickness of this heart, I would put an additional ounce stamp on there, and the post office people will help you with that if you have questions about it. And then if you write on the envelope hand cancel when you give it to the post office people, or even if you put it in your mailbox with hand cancel, it will help protect it a little bit as it goes. You may also find that you want to put that this would be a great one to hand deliver if you wanted to add tea or chocolate or a special goodie. Tea, of course, would be appropriate with the teacups, but any kind of treat would be well received, I'm sure. So that's our first project tonight. We'll set that one aside. I do want to show you a couple things, though, that I made using the Monstera Leaves set, the artfully layered stamp set. These were some cards that my friend Cindy and I designed for a recent class that we held. And one of the featured pieces were called Aloha Notes. And I wanted to show you these because they fit really nicely into cards, or they can also be used to thank your wait staff or the friend at the bank, or wherever you do little errands. There's this one I love so much: no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. So these are just fun. There's Amelia Earhart, Desmond Tutu. There's different famous quotes. And then on the back, they just have those tropical papers. So these are fun to leave. We left one last week, my family, with our bill after we had enjoyed some pizza in Fulton at Mama Gina's. It was wonderful. And so we wanted the waiter to know how much we enjoyed his kindness. And so these are some other, if you like tropical stuff, these are a lot of fun. And I can help you learn about these supplies if you're interested. And put a note in the comments, in the chat, if you think a tropical theme would be fun for a card in the next couple of months, because I do have these really pretty papers that I'd love to share with you that have these coral and blues and green colors. So do let me know if a tropical card would be a fun one as we get ready for summertime. Okay, our next project will feature the envelope, the card that has the yellow and all these circus or happy animals. It looks, in your kit, it will look like this. And the piece that I've added to my envelope is a small circle. And the circle you should be able to find in your kit, but not in the envelope. I added it a little bit later. So I think it's tucked somewhere else in that magic green envelope, chevron green. So hopefully you can find that. That will be useful for this card as well. Now this one I enjoy because it is a pull-out card. You can have the greeting inside this pocket card. And oh good, I'm seeing in the comments that the tropical would be welcome and it will bring us some sunshine, which indeed we are needing. Spring is near, friends, but we always get a little bit of tease at the end of February and beginning of March. So this card I love for a happy birthday card, but you'll be able to put your own greeting here. So it can really just be any kind of celebration or love you card. The friends that we have in here are the lion, the koala, and the toucan, I think are just really cheerful and happy. So if you take out this from your kit, set aside that circle if you could. Hopefully everybody was able to find the circle in their kit. And then you'll take out the other pieces. We're going to do some fussy cutting tonight. You know, I enjoy this. Not everybody likes to fussy cut, but I do. Now, there are some animals in you should have a lion, a koala, and a toucan, but they'll be different. Your toucan might have a party hat, or your koala might have the party hat, or your lion might, or one of them has balloons. So I tried to mix and match so you'd have a variety of their entertaining little animals here. So when we fussy cut, you remember, I like to move the paper rather than my scissor hand. So my left hand is moving the paper and my right hand is keeping the paper snips pretty steady. They're not moving very much, but that paper is going to move. And I personally like to have just a little edge of white around my image. Some people like to go very close and not have any white show, and that's just a personal preference. You can do it any way you like. Let me move this so you can see with the dark surface behind me maybe a little bit better. I'm just carefully cutting. And again, if I go too quickly tonight, know that you can add these friends to the card after, but I want to be sure we have time for me to show you how they're assembled as well. There's my little koala friend. I just think he's so happy. Now my lion, this guy's wearing a party hat. So we've talked other months about whether when we make a card, are we thinking of the person that we're going to give it to while we're making it, or are we making it for our stash so that we have one when we need it? I definitely am a stamper or crafter that does a little of both. It's really fun to customize a card. If you are designing one, my little niece Claire, who's 3, it's really fun to make something with her in mind as I'm creating. But she also would love any card, right? So it's important. I think sometimes we need to have some cards on hand, so we've got a stash built up, and then other times we can take time to really personalize and showcase products for a
Yeah,
particular.
I usually have to start and then I get an idea of who I want to make it for.
Excellent. I like that. That makes a lot of sense because you can kind of get into it and get a feel of what the vibe is of the card, right? And sometimes we're not sure where it's going yet. You might think, oh, this is going to be a fun birthday card, and then end up making it a retirement card for somebody
Right.
at work that's going to be.
I never did find the circle you said you put in afterwards.
Okay. I'm trying to think. I know that I added them to the green, to these chevron bags. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure. So in there is the envelope.
Oh, you got two. Okay.
I got two.
Oh, good, Connie. Okay, good.
I must have hers.
It might
I'll
have
just
been
keep
where
looking.
with the pink twine was kind of rolled up. I think I tucked it in so that it had the twine and the little circles. Yep. Well, you've got the twine. That's good. I'm sorry if you're missing a circle tonight, Julia. I know you can substitute another kind of shape, but I did intend, I like that the circle shape echoes the balloon shapes in the cards, which is why I planned that design. So here's my toucan. And he's gonna just surprise this recipient here. So this kind of pocket card is a very easy layout. I'm going to show you how to fold and adhere the sides so that it makes a really easy pocket. All right, let's move those away. And we've got our three friends ready to play. And then we have a white piece. This is for the inside of the card. So I'm going to decorate this after. First, we're going to make the pocket part. So what you'll need is this color is called crushed curry. It's a flat piece. It doesn't open up. It's just a flat piece of cardstock, a standard quarter sheet of cardstock. And then we have this designer series paper that opens up. Now I've made another score line for you, and I'm going to fold that down so that it's going to make a decorative flap here, and where you're going to put things inside the pocket. Now, the best way I like to adhere it is just with a very thin line of my mono glue, my Tombow glue. I'm going to just make a thread that's a little thick, a little worm-like. I want it to be even more thread-like, but there we go. Sometimes the glue comes out really quickly. So then I can seal up those edges. All right. Some people, when they make this card, they don't actually even use any adhesive. They just use a ribbon or something to kind of lock this around and then adhere it to the base. So you could do that if you like. But because I want to be able to put stuff in here, and I don't want to worry about it coming out the edge, I'm going to go ahead and adhere that. Then I'll take and put glue on all of the back of this. A thread all the way around and a squiggle in the middle. It's hard to cover up all those friendly guys, but they're on the front too, so that's okay. There, we'll just adhere this. I love the combination of stripes and the polka dots on the little presents, and it's a lot of fun. There. Now, again, there's different ways you can lock this flap down with a ribbon if you like. I'm going to do it tonight with a couple of dimensionals. So I'm just going to put 1 and 2. And this is going to be enough to just hold that flap down, but give it a little bit of depth here. Okay. So now we're back to this insert piece that we can put into the card. And you'll be able to slide it down in and out. If it feels too tight, you can always trim this a little bit more. But I made it so that if I'm careful with my gluing, then I have enough room to slide it in and out. And then now the fun part is just to decide how we want to arrange these little friends. I liked having the lion be up at the top. He'll be the one that pulls out. But if your lion is holding the balloons, you might want to put him in the place where the toucan is. You see what I'm saying? So this one, it's funny, it actually, my samples are the same. I didn't do that on purpose, where the one that I made ahead of time, I have the same animals as I did for my sample. But remember, yours might be a little different. Your koala might have the party hat. So you get to decide how you want to arrange them. Okay. We also have the circle, if you have the circle, and if not, Julia, I'm sorry, but oh, there's your koala with a hat. He's wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to use a stamp from the butterfly, or I'm sorry, from the Ladybug stamp set called Hello Ladybug. And it says, may your greatest wish come true. And I thought that was appropriate for this card. It seems kind of circus-like to me, and I think of the greatest show on earth when I think of the circus. And also, may your greatest wish come true. St. Patrick's Day is a time when some people make a lot of wishes. So it seemed appropriate for our March card. May your greatest wish come true. Okay. And then so now I have these pieces and I can arrange them the way that I would like. If you have a sentiment stamp in your kit this month that you'd like to put on the circle, you can. Let's see, Julia. Oh, Julia is thinking she's got that foil piece too. So the back of that is white. So there's another option, or you could even just add some of this nice gold as some more sparkle, which is always fun, right? Always welcome on there. You could make it like a circus. What do you call that? Where they're standing on some kind of tower, right? I'm not sure what that would be called, but you know how the horses stand up on those and the elephants, the little podium. So you could be creative with your gold foil. Yes, Julia's got her koala on the podium there. That's marvelous. Okay, so now I'm going to use adhesive to secure my pieces. I also have this little bit of ribbon, and I wanted to show you two ways that people enjoy ribbons sometimes. One way is just to make a knot and pull it like this. And then you lay that across, like, let me move these guys away. You kind of lay that across. So it's giving some texture. It's not really super thick, and you didn't have to tie a bow, right? But it gives you some texture. So I should have shared that with you before, because if you wanted to do that, then you probably wanted to tuck the edges around before you put this down. But what we can do is, since I've only secured it with those dimensionals, I can pull that up. And then on my sample here, I'll share with you this style. So actually, let's see, I'm going to use those dimensionals inside here. They still have sticky to kind of hold my ribbon in place. That one doesn't, that's in the wrong place. So here, I'll put another one here. There we go. Because I did want to show you, this is a fun way to add ribbon without tying a bow. Okay, so you might need to put some more dimensionals in there if you do it like that. But that's one way to add the texture of ribbon, but not tie a bow, and it's not so fat, right? Now I can kind of tuck my circle in. I want it to look like a tag, but I don't need to actually thread it. I'm just going to lay it inside there. So I'll put a little bit of adhesive on the back, just kind of dotted here, and tuck it under. And that way it's going to look like it's threaded through that ribbon. Okay. And now I can add my friends here. These guys I'm going to put on with dimensionals. I love these little mini dimensionals. I think I gave you enough to play with tonight, so you can keep layering things. There's our happy koala and the little toucan. I think I don't want to secure the balloons because they might come above the flap. So as you're working tonight, I'd love to see how yours is coming out, because we have different animals doing different things tonight. Love to see what your project is looking like. If you want to hold it up, we can take a look. I'm going to move to the gallery view for a second so I can see a few of you working on those. Thank you. I hope it's fun, and I hope you have fun with your cutting. There's my face to say hello. I'm going to hold up mine for you. And then there we go. Thank you, Julia. So is it back to my hands? Let me make sure we have that spotlighted. Whoops.
I'm showing my screen too because I have a question.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm sorry. I'll cancel my spotlight. There we go. Show me yours for a second. Yep.
So the little card, it seems very small. Do I have it positioned right?
The card inside?
Yeah, the little white card.
Yeah, so that's going to be able to slide out. In and out of the pocket. Yep. So we'll keep the pocket and then this can go in and out. If it's a little tight, then you can trim off some of the edge if it feels a little.
Got it. And you put the one of the characters on that one is what?
Yeah, let's go ahead. I'll add my lion to the top of that.
Okay.
With a dimension. I'll just pop him on. And that way he kind of tucks inside.
Okay.
And then we'll pull him out. So I'm not going to put any greeting on there tonight, but you could have a surprise or happy birthday or something like that if you wanted to at the top. I think most people will figure out that it opens up, that you can pull this guy out, especially if you kind of, rough it a little bit so that it kind of is not set against the back. Does that make sense? I'm kind of rolling it a little bit, and that way it's going to have a little bit of grab to it. You also could add the ribbon at the top here, like a pull-out tag. So similar to the tag, the tropical card that I showed before, this is a different type of here, let me go back to show you my hands. So this tropical pocket card, you'll notice that it's the same dimensions of the designer series paper, but instead of folding it down as a straight line, I folded it as a diagonal triangle line, and so the pocket pulls out this way. So you could, if you wanted to, you could add your ribbon to the top of here, or add another piece of ribbon or something to make it like a pull out. Okay, so that's one way that you can use your piece of ribbon. The other way is to tie a little bow, like you're tying your shoe. There are some videos about fork bows that we can access if you haven't learned that with us before, but it is tricky. This ribbon was quite small, so it might be a challenge to use that technique. But I hope that you'll have fun with these guys and think about somebody. I think all people of all ages would enjoy this card. It's just a happy, joyful card, but there may be someone in your life that's a younger person who would delight in the circus theme. Now, just to finish it up, we want to add to the flap of our envelope. So you have a piece of paper. One side has balloons and the other side has the presents. So you get to decide which side you want to be on the outside of your flap. On my sample, I have the balloons. So I'm going to switch it up. And on my card tonight, I will have the presents. So I'm putting glue just on the flap of the envelope. When you do this trick, you want to make sure you put the glue on the flap and not all over the back of the paper, because the paper is larger and you're going to trim some of it away.
Yeah.
So
mine seems to have ice cream cones on.
Oh, terrific. Thank you. There were two sets. What you either had the balloons and the presents, or like Connie and Julia, you have the ice cream cones and the candles. So you get to pick what. Thank you for pointing that out. I'd forgotten that there were the different variations. That's what's fun about the papers that I use from Stampin' Up! That are designer series papers, is there's always two sides to the paper, so you get extra choices.
So and
they come in a pack, usually of 12 different designs that all coordinate. So the ones that I used for this project all came from one pack. And so I'm just giving it a haircut around the outside of that flap, trimming that right away. And now I have a decorative flap to go with my card. So you know I enjoy pocket cards and little secret places. And so this would be great to slide out and have your message. You also, of course, could put tea or a little magnet or an aloha aloha notes in there. Like I'll take one of these out again to show you. So this one says, do your little bit of good where you are. It's those little bits of good put together that overwhelm the world. Desmond Tutu. So we can just tuck that in there too. And then that's an extra little surprise when the people get their goodies. You could put a gift card in there, some cash, a check, another love note, tea, Ghirardelli chocolates, you name it. Okay, friends, so we're ready to do our third project tonight. If you didn't have time to fussy cut all your animals, don't worry, just tuck them in the pocket, put them aside so you can finish that at a later time. And we're going to wrap up tonight's class with a special sewing project, a bookbinding project. And I'll share with you what a completed one looks like, and a couple variations, so you'll have some options tonight. You will also need this bookbinding clip, or what do we call these? Do you know, are they called? Binder clips, they're called binder clips. Yeah. You all have a binder clip tonight that will be helpful for this step too.
And if anybody didn't get one, because I think some of the ones in the blue things didn't get a binder clip, they're in my office, so just stop by the library and I'll give you one.
Great, okay. You could also tonight, if you want to work along on the project and you don't have a clip, you can use a clothespin, a paper clip. You might have a chip clip that will work. It's basically going to help us hold the layers together. So this is made with one of our white paper bags. Often I package the kits in these paper bags, so you might have some others in your collection. But we're going to create a trifold book, and you'll notice it has a pocket here. You can put postage stamps in here, or dimensionals, or tea, photos, coupons, you name it in there. And then the part that we're going to sew tonight is this one signature book. And a signature is the bookbinding name for a part of pages that are sewn together. And big books have many signatures in them, glued side by side. We're just going to put one signature in our book tonight. So what I'll have you do, and there's a lot of papers, so if you want to watch first to see how I do it and then do it later, you can rewatch the video. But I do want to make sure you understand how to do the sewing pieces. This is a very simple bookbinding technique. So you'll need to have your needle, and you'll want to thread your needle with this pink floss, this pink baker's twine, okay? So let me show you, before we adhere any of the designer series papers, we're going to sew in our book. And then you'll kind of have a sense of what is the front, the back, and the middle of your book. So I've already folded your paper bag, and you'll notice that the cover here is actually the bottom of the bag. It has this printed writing on it. That's going to be at the left side now. Okay, that's the left side of our book. And then the part where this bag opens and there's the pocket, that's going to be over on the right. The book that we're going to sew in here, the signature, is going to go right along the seam here at the edge of this bottom of the bag. Okay, so what we need to do is fold the pieces of white paper. This is just regular copy paper that you'd use with a photocopier. And I'm going to fold those in half. There's 5 pieces, so you'll have 10, you'll have 20 little pages, but there's 5 sheets. And then you're folding it like this. So you can go ahead and fold all 4 of those together if you like. If you have a bone folder, you may use that. If you have the back of a spoon, that will help too. I had a spoon handy at one point to show you. See if it's, I don't think it's still here on my desk. But the bowl part of a spoon is a good thing to use for a folder as well. And then we'll take the larger piece of designer series paper. This measures 7.5 by 5 3/4. This is the bigger piece of designer series paper, and it has 2 sides. So you can decide which side you want to be sort of the cover and which one you want to have on the inside. I'm going to go ahead and put the more muted green as my outside. And then it's a sort of surprise and delight when you open up and there's a brighter color. Your papers will be different than, might be different than mine. They might be the same, they might be different, but it's the large one that you need right now. If there's any questions, feel free to unmute to ask me, or go ahead and put it in the chat too. We can watch there. Julia, do you have a question, or you'll see if others are having questions?
I'm double checking to see if anybody does, but my question is that when I fold the papers, I feel like the outside paper is not covering all the white.
Okay, let me see. It should be pretty close. If a little bit is hanging over, you can trim it with a trimmer or with scissors.
Okay.
I apologize for that. When I did the math, I was hoping, do other people have that issue too, where it's a little bit long? Maybe Julia's kit.
Well, it's pretty close actually. Once I got it really folded right, now it seems
It'll
to be
close.
flush.
It should be close. Yeah.
It's pretty flush.
There should be a little bit of space at the top and the bottom, and then it should be really close to the edge here.
Yeah, there is space in the top and the bottom. Okay, and
Okay,
now it's fitting now that I got it folded properly.
Excellent, very good. Okay, so next we're going to open up our bag again. Take that part with the printing on the left-hand side, and we're going to put the designer series paper and the paper, tuck it right into that fold, right into that crease. Okay, now this is where the binder clip comes in handy, because it's going to help secure these pieces when we do our sewing. So I'm going to put my binder clip in and kind of lock it in place. So I'll know that it's where I want it to be because it's tucked right into that fold, right up against that crease. Okay, now here's the part I ask you to be very careful, because this needle is sharp. It's a sewing needle that could be used with fabric or with the paper. And so it's very, very sharp. But what we're going to do is make 3 holes. One will be in the center, and then one about 1 inch from each end. Now, I just caution you again to make sure your fingers are out of the way. So your fingers are going to be near where the binder clip is while you do this middle hole. You don't want to poke through to your skin. But in the middle, and I'm not a precision crafter, you know that, so I'm not measuring, but I'm look eyeballing halfway in. If you wanted, you could measure with a ruler. And what we want to do is pull that through without, let the string go right through it a few times, because we want to have that hole be easy to work with when we do this real sewing. So you'll notice I'm just putting it in and out a couple times without stopping the string. Okay, that's the first hole. Now I'm going to go down to the left side bottom here, about 1 inch in. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to wiggle it into the crease there. And then I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to do that a couple of times because I want that hole to be a little bit wider. So as I'm pulling it in and out, if I kind of wiggle the needle like this, it's going to help make it larger. Now for the third hole, I'm going to turn it around because I don't want my hand to be in danger's way. So my hand is over, holding the bag over on the right side, and I'm going to make the hole on the left. I'm curious to know if any of you have done bookbinding before, or if you've made any sewn bindings similar to this. I first learned from my brother when he was in college. He spent a year in Japan, and he took many courses with traditional bookbinding and made me a journal that had many signatures in it. So I've only really made simple books like this with my students and for different projects, but I find it very satisfying. I love textile arts. I like to sew and to quilt. And so combining this with the paper is really fun for me, and I hope it will be fun for you. So this is called a 3-hole binding for obvious reasons, right? We've got a center hole and 2 holes at the side. So now I'm going to pay attention to my string. Now your string is much too long. I was generous with it. So you can leave it really long and just pull it through, or you can cut it. And I don't really know what the dimension should be, but it's basically like 4 times the length of the book. Let me see, 1, 2, that would be about right. If you want to cut off any of it, let me give you an idea. From the string that I gave you, I was able to make 3 books. So I had plenty of string. But what we're going to do is go down the center hole. Okay. So I'm going to take the needle down the center hole. And this time I'm going to stop the string. I'm going to leave a tail. And the tail should reach at least to the end of this. And I'll show you. I like to tie a bow in the inside. Some people just tie a knot. But if you want to have a bow, be sure you leave your tail long enough to reach the end here. Now we're going, whoop, I have to hold that tail, okay? Now we're going to flip it over and bring the hole from the outside in. Okay. So now it's going to come up through the inside of the book, and I'm holding that tail so I don't lose the string. Okay. So now I came up that one. Now I'm going to go down the other hole, the one at the other end. So holding on that tail so you don't lose it. Question? Hi, Connie.
Which hole did we come back in? We went from the inside out in the middle.
Yep. And then you're going to come up. It doesn't really matter, but you're going to come up, let's say the left, like I'm doing it tonight. I came up the left.
Okay.
And then I went down the right.
Oh,
So
I see.
you're going all the way from one side hole all the way down the other side
Okay.
hole. Okay.
Oh, I clipped the tail on the clip.
Oh, you're clever, Connie. That was very smart.
I
Then
don't have to worry.
it won't run away.
I don't have to worry about it.
That's a clever trick. Thank you for mentioning that. I'm going to put mine over there too. Okay. So now the last part with the holes is, if I flip it over, I can show you on the back now. I need to bring it back up through the middle hole. So I have one string already there, and this part's blank. I need to fill that in. So I'm going to go up through the middle. Okay. Now, once I'm there, you'll notice I want one tail to be to the left and one tail to the right. So like underneath this string. So I'm just going to move sometimes you're lucky and it just comes up that way where it's on the other side of the center string. But in this case, I have a tail now that's both are under. One is to the left, one is to the right. Then I can tie a knot.
We lost your hands.
Say,
Oh, sorry. Let me get a bit. Okay.
Can you see me again?
Let's see.
I can go to the spotlight there. There we go. Okay. Can you
Yeah.
see my hands again now? So I have that pink string is across the middle. And then I have one tail under to the left, one tail under to the right. I don't need my needle anymore. So you can just take it off or keep it on if it's comfortable for you. But I like to get it out of the way. I'm going to tie just one knot, like an overhand knot. And then, like I said, I like to have a bow. You can just tie it twice another knot and then trim off the edges. But I personally like the bow. So I'm going to tie it like I'm tying my shoes. And then I'll trim off that extra long tail. So that, my friends, is a 3-hole binding for one signature book. Now, this signature has just a few pages. You could put graph paper or lined paper or copy paper inside. My good friend Kelly Gettelfinger is the inspiration for this project. And what she does is she makes journals that are sometimes they're called junk journals or paper bag journals. And she might incorporate all kinds of things inside here, like a piece of wrapping paper from a beloved gift, or a ticket stub from a game that she went to or a concert, maybe a piece of a map. And so in the future months, I'll try to have one to show you that has kind of interesting memorabilia inside here. But for tonight's one, we all are just making the same. That's just the white for a sketch journal or a grocery list journal for you, however you choose to use it. So that's secured now in the spine of our book. And to do the rest of the decorating, we're just going to adhere the designer series paper pieces. Did everybody get to a spot where they can move ahead from here? Okay, so inside your bag right here, I put some tape, double-sided tape. So it's going to make, it's just going to secure that flap, but it's also going to be another secret little pocket. So if you wanted to put something inside here, you can, because we've only adhered it at the top and the bottom. Okay, but there's, other than the choices of what papers you do next, there's one more decision to make, okay? And that's how you'd like your ribbon to tie up your bag. So I'm going to show you two examples. On this one, my ribbon is secured. Let's see, I got to get it folded up correctly for us. Okay, my ribbon is secured under the paper. So the ribbon doesn't show on the outside here of the back, but on the front, it wraps around and ties. So you actually see the ribbon on the outside of the front. That's one option. So the ribbon is kind of hidden on the back. That's how we secured it onto the book. But in the front, the ribbon shows. But let me show you a different one where the ribbon is hidden both on the back cover and the front cover. It's just a preference, a personal preference. There's no, it's not going to be stronger or really different other than the way your ribbon shows. Does that make sense? So basically now we need to put our ribbon on our book before we say goodnight. And and you'll decide now if you want to have the ribbon be covered up or the ribbon to show. So let's see, I've got my blue ribbon.
I'm a little confused. So your example ones, you'd already put the paper on as covers, and
yeah, I don't want you to do that yet. I just wanted you to see what the two things you're looking at. And I apologize, this is different paper tonight. That makes it harder to decide. But basically this one, the ribbons are underneath the paper, both on the front and the back. This one, the ribbon is only hidden on the back. It kind of depends on what you might want to put on the front. If you want a photo of your dog or your cat on the front and you don't want the ribbon to cut right across their body, then I would hide it. If you like the look of the texture of the ribbon with the paper and you don't plan to put, something detailed underneath, then that's fine. If you wanted to put a verse or a poem on the front, I probably would hide the ribbon just so that it doesn't distract.
I was just confused about what paper we're putting on the outside. So that's
no, I know it's a little confusing.
We haven't gotten there yet.
But we're not there yet. So what we're going to do is tie the ribbon we have to figure out where the halfway is of the ribbon, right? So you're going to wrap it around your book so that the tails come out to the right side. And then now we're making that decision. Are we going to cover, we know we're going to cover the back because that's what kind of locks the ribbon in place. So you need to make a choice from your designer series papers, and you have a variety of these floral and navy and green pieces. Which one do you want to be the back?
Okay, now I do have a real puzzle.
Okay,
So when I look at my book, I still have the little flappy bite out of
yes, you
it.
do. And that part, thanks for asking that question. That part's gonna wrap inside on top of the book that you
Oh, I
made.
see. Okay.
Does that work?
Yep. So will people still see the flap if they open the book, or are we gonna cover it up?
We're only going, let me show you again on this one, because the only thing left to do really is just put paper on all of the parts that are left. So you'll see here on this flap with a P pocket, I've got paper on both sides.
Got
And
it.
then there's my book, and I've got paper on the inside here. Okay. So it's a lot of designer series paper, which I love because it all coordinates so pretty. You can really design your book the way you like, but if you fold that flap in and then put this on top, then we can really what you want to just decide first is your front and your back of your book. So, and then we can put the rest of the paper inside. So it's just your preference, what design you want to have on the front and the back. I'm going to go ahead and see how my ribbon is stretched out. So it's half, the fold is here. I want to secure this now with some adhesive because that's going to be glued down with the designer series paper. So you might not be ready right now to decide what paper you want to put on your back, and you can go ahead and just watch the assembly steps now to see how I'm what's important is this back side paper. That's the one that's going to hold the ribbon in place. Sometimes people tie something around it and they don't secure the ribbon. But I don't want people to lose the ribbon. I think it's part of the fun of this book. So that's why I like to lock it in place. Okay. And personally, I like when the ribbon shows across the front, but I just wanted to give you that option. If you would prefer to have the ribbon, I'll make this one where the ribbon is on the inside, and that way you'll be able to see the differences. So I'm going to glue that ribbon, and I'll put my cover on here. Let's see, to pick which one I want to be the cover. I'm going to go with this one. I like this one. This is the one I had on the original, but you can compare. So I'm going to put my glue all around the designer series paper, and then that's going to go on top of the front flap. So here are your two to compare. The one where the ribbon goes across the front and the one where the ribbon is hidden by the paper. I don't mean to overcomplicate that, but it's nice to have the option depending on how you want to decorate your cover. Okay? So next, it's just covering all of these white surfaces with more paper, more pretty, pretty paper. And there's, you can choose the designs you like. They all coordinate. So now in these paper bags are not the highest quality controls. So there's going to be variations in them. So your paper might not have a real neat frame all the way around the outside because of the way the paper bag is constructed. That again doesn't offend me because this whole style of this project is kind of a messy collecting kind of book. Any questions I can help you with? I hope it was fun to learn the 3-hole binding and that you can do this with so many different supplies. It obviously doesn't need to be put into a, oh, beautiful, Julia. Don't you love those little white flowers on the navy? That's some of my favorite paper. And you can just make those little journals themselves without being attached into the book. Oh, Connie, that looks great. Let me go across and see. Jennifer's working too. Thank you. And the others, I'm glad you're here tonight. We would love for you to post samples of your projects. Last month, we had a few people in the comments on the Facebook recording. You can enter your photos there and show us the things that you've made during our session together. That's really fun for me to see what you have created and how you've used the materials in your own way. So because our papers are different, the inside papers, I'm not focusing for you on which ones I'm using because yours might be a little bit different. But again, they're all from that same packet. Nancy has a question. Do you have a sample for tomorrow? Thank you, Nancy, for asking about tomorrow. Tomorrow is our in-person library class at 10 o'clock. And I do not have samples, and I'll tell you why. My good friend Cheryl is going to be leading the class for me. My son has COVID and he's doing fine. He's been home this week, but we've chosen as a family to err on the side of caution. And so I'm kind of quarantining along. He's isolating and I'm quarantining along with him just for, just to be cautious. So I'm not going to be at the class tomorrow, Nancy, but my friend Cheryl will be there, and she has all the goodie boxes that my husband delivered to her today. So the kit is called Here's to You, and it's a wonderful kind of wilderness kit. It has, it was from March last year. It has blues and corals and greens, and it's very nice. The sentiments are perfect for kind of a graduation or a celebration or retirement, or I think it also has happy birthday. And of course we have some alternate kits available too, if you have used that one in the past or wanted to do a different one. So I'm sorry I don't have pictures for you tonight, but it's a wonderful paper pumpkin kit. Your $20 supply fee includes all of the supplies to make the cards. It makes 8 cards with envelopes. And it also includes the stamp set, the ink, and the clear block. So you have plenty of supplies to take home with you. I did want to point out the happy papers on this book. This is called Rainbows and Sunshine Designer Series paper. And right now I'm offering an opportunity to support Aaron's Angels, which many of you are familiar with, this organization based in Phoenix that has a backpack program and food pantry for children with food insecurity. And so in honor of March, my birthday month, I'm doing a fundraiser, and you can purchase a kit to make cards that are using these happy rainbow colors, rainbow papers. And it also has some fun sequins and pearlized paper in there. And so if you're interested in that, you can visit my Missy's Glad Heart Studio, Paper Crafting and More on Facebook, or you can message me. And I would love to have your support in supporting Aaron's Angels and creating these fun projects that will be great for springtime sharing, or all year round, sharing sunshine all year round for sure. So let me pull back in the projects we completed together tonight. I'm gonna just leave this one open so people can see again how the pages has that book inside, a little secret pocket here. And then the flap opens. And this is where it'd be great to put photos or maybe a little calendar, something that if you wanted to keep this in your purse, you could list your grocery list or things, put coupons in here.
Great, so we're gonna live on Facebook as well. I want to welcome you tonight.
Oh, it's doing a recording. I guess, I'm not sure what
We're
happened.
gonna live on Facebook as well.
It might be the recording of the Facebook, Julia. That's okay. But we'll just
Something
wrap
was-
up tonight by showing you the projects that we made together. And let's see where my other one is, the teacup one. Can I find that one? Yes. So as always, I enjoy sharing time with you and appreciate you being a part of our fun here virtually with library friends. And those of you who can attend tomorrow, I know Cheryl will look forward to meeting you and sharing some crafty time together. And I thank you, Julia, for partnering always and being our tech person and making it work and supporting our partnership, sharing crafting. Thanks everybody for taking part. Please, if you have comments, a good place to put them, comments or questions, is in the Facebook recording. So Julia and I will be able to respond to those. Thanks everybody for taking part. Have a good night.
Yep. I wanted to mention, we have another thing coming on that's going to be craft thing, the egg painting that we do every year.
Oh,
The
wonderful.
Pishanki Ukrainian egg painting is going to be on 2 Sundays, the 2 Sundays before Easter. So the April 3rd and April 10th. You do need to sign up.
Okay.
Materials are paid for by the library. And we have a wonderful instructor who does Ukrainian Treasures is the name of her business, but she does Ukrainian egg painting and she's Ukrainian and
Oh,
she's a
wouldn't that be
wonderful teacher. Yeah. So
Yeah, I've always admired those and wanted to learn. So I'll have to look at my calendar too. You said it's for 2. You can come one or the other, or do
one
you
or
come-
the other. Yeah.
Okay,
And it's
great.
usually filled up. So please don't sign up for
I
both.
will look at the calendar. Thank you, Julia. Terrific. Thanks again, everybody, for taking part tonight. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.